Hi, I'm Matt McCue, author of the new book, An Honorable Run, about Coach Brown, a man who changed my life. Tonight I'll be reading at Prairie Lights, and I hope you enjoy the book, and stay tuned.
I'm not Matt McCue. On the back, more looking than I am. I'm honored to be here for a lot of reasons, but mostly to get to talk about this book and the great person and people that the book is about. I looked at Matt McCue throughout his career, Regina, as he crushed all the records and ran a lot of great things. I looked at him with a lot of respect, a lot of admiration from afar. I was a long ways away then. So this is quite an honor to be here to introduce him. My name is TJ Craig. I ran for Coach Brown from 92 to 95. And let me look at my notes. I currently teach 5th and 6th grade at Mark Twain Elementary, and I'm a boys assistant cross-country coach and track coach at West High, here in the west side of town, back in the great city. My connection to this whole story, I guess, beyond just having Coach Brown as my coach for a long time and guiding me through the better years of my life. Coach Brown to me is more than just a coach of cross country or just a coach of track, and I think Matt did a great job and he'll do that later as he speaks. One of the things that he did for me was I was just a puny, spastic, mouthy little kid when I was going through school. I'm sure people who knew me then can tell some stories. But he did for me was he made me into somebody with, a little more than that, I guess I should say. Someone who thought more of life, who thought more about other people than himself. And like I say, that's, for me, that was a long step. So it's someone that he changed my life in a lot of ways. And that story for me never ends. It's interesting to sit here now, and as I was reading the book, I thought, I could write down, what he did for me in cross country and coaching or as a coach, but I can't expound on what he still does for me every day. As I said, I coach cross country, and it's so weird for me to look back and how many days I've used his quotes, or how many times I've looked at someone and thought, man, that's what Coach Brown said to me, or I've said, what would Coach Brown say in this moment? It's really special, and like I said, that story for me, or this connection, has not ended, 5 years ago or 3 years ago, or it's never ending. I still use those quotes. I still use the same things every single day, whether I'm teaching, coaching, or whatnot. So, like I said, this story is a big deal to a lot of people, and hopefully it's a big deal to a lot more people after this, because he changed a lot of people's lives, including my own, obviously. I get the honor of introducing Matt McCue, who ran at Regina from 1997 to 2001. Like I said, he has many of the records at obviously Regina. I think more importantly than that, though, Matt's, and having read the book, I think he's made him into somebody pretty darn special in the eyes of a lot of people, and the perfect person to honor such a great man, and to bring those experiences from both Regina and Colorado into his first book. I'm sure there'll be many more, entitled An Honorable Run, and he's going to do an excellent job of speaking and bringing all those experiences and coaching into a short 45-minute period, and hopefully you'll read the book and take many more of those experiences and enjoy them just the same as I have when I read it in 2 or 3 days. So, without further ado, Matt McCue.
My parents are both teachers here in the community, and as the McCues, my mom's at Regina, my dad's at Clear Creek, and the McCues aren't above a little bribery to get people to turn out. So, by show of hands, if I could just see anyone who's been in one of my parents' classes who's been offered extra credit to show up tonight. Okay, that's good. You all want to be here, as do I, and I'm very glad to be here. Like TJ said, it's an important story. It's my story, but it's one that a lot of people in the community, the running community, and the Iowa City community, will relate to. I haven't been to a cross-country meet in about 8 years or so, and I went to the Bob Brown Invitational the other day. It brought back great memories and took me back to a good time and place. I walked onto the course and I could hear the cicadas buzzing out somewhere in the distance. And I walked on the soft grass, and it reminded me of each step that I used to take in the races. I looked out and I saw the runners as they gritted through mile 2 on their way to the finish line, and watching the determination on their faces, I could almost feel the pain and agony they were pushing themselves through. It was a beautiful sight, and it's a scene that plays itself out across the country, from New York to California, in town parks and golf courses all over the United States. These stories, and there are many great ones in track and field and high school across the country, they start with the runners. Many of these runners are out there chasing their goals, and for some, their dreams. And the stories end with the coaches, who are there to rein them in when they run a little too hard, who are there to offer a comforting hand on their shoulder after a disappointing race. And in the case of our coach, Coach Brown, there to offer a hug after a good day and bad. And that's what the story is about today. It's a coming-of-age story, an honorable run. And it's about my experience as a runner for Regina under Coach Brown, and it's about how when I was 16 years old, probably some of you won't believe this, but I thought I knew everything there was to know about life, and I brazenly ran away from him, went off to run for a national championship college team out in Colorado, and whoa, my perspective widened and thankfully matured. Tonight I'm going to start with a piece here. It's a story, an honorable run, and it's about running, yes, on the surface. But it's about the coaches who make a difference in the lives of young athletes. You might not have even been an athlete yourself, but perhaps you've had a mentor, a teacher, a parent, someone who along the way has helped you kind of determine your path in life. And so I have Coach Brown here, as someone you all know, in the Iowa City community, and there's also another man named Coach Mark Wetmore, who graciously gave me the chance to walk on and to run for the Colorado Buffaloes. So the first section I read tonight is it just sets up the story. It's what I call the prologue, and it gives you about 1 page on each man, kind of who they are. They are very different, but their common bond is that they love coaching runners, and I am the link between the two. So here we go. And as a quick aside, this story is written in journal format. I wish I could say I planned that. I didn't. I wanted to plan it because Coach Brown used to have us write in journals after our races, and then he would take them, he would give some comments, and he would hand them back to us, and that would have been just about the perfect symbolism had it been planned, but it was completely by accident. So this first entry that I like to read tonight is called the Journey Epigraphs. It's 3 men's, 2 paths, and 1 story. And the first one is called Endo in the Public Library, and it's about Coach Wetmore. To fully understand a man, we must learn about his journey. It is there that we can find the pulse of his life. Some men prefer to keep the past to themselves. Ironically, they often have the best stories to tell. I'd place Mark Wetmore squarely in that category. He reveled in being an enigma. If there was one thing that could give him life, however, it was running. After I graduated from the University of Colorado in May 2005, I asked my former coach about his odyssey. His answers struck a chord in me. His motivation reminded me of my own. A native of Bernardsville, New Jersey, Wetmore had arrived in Boulder, Colorado in late August 1991. 39 years old, he had no friends, no job, and no particular idea of what he would do for money. He was fond of quipping that if he couldn't find work, he would make a decent living as a burglar. He had been to Boulder in the past and knew it was a town with potential, equipped with the best public library in America. He hoped to coach long-distance runners. Upon arrival out west, he sought out a running trail, one that would be steep and hilly, empty and unpaved, as they crept through the mountains. Studying a topographic map carefully, he found what he was looking for 20 minutes outside of Boulder. He was parked beside the green 5-mile marker of Magnolia Road, where the elevation touched 9,000 feet. Stepping out onto dirt softer than the concrete he had pounded back in Jersey, he started running west. He ran down a little hill with a vast meadow on the left. In the long grass surrounding a small pond was a herd of elk that had left the woods to quench their thirst. Wetmore took it in. The elk, the pond, the small log